Well, I'm excited. There's nothing like better than like great character actors. When the guy shows up in the scene, you're like, here we fucking go. This movie is about to jump up 1,000%. And it doesn't matter when this guy's in the movie. And by the way, he's been in about 46,000 of them. Eric Roberts makes a movie 50 times better. I don't care if it's Heaven's Prisoners, Best of the Best, even when he's a lead guy, obviously Runaway Train. Doesn't matter. One of the greats. And I've talked to him forever. He has a new book out. We'll talk about that as well. Eric Roberts. Eric, thanks so much for taking some time with us.
You are so kind. What an overwhelming introduction. Thank you, brother.
Of course. Let me ask you first, because when we're taping this, it was yesterday. You were in Best of the Best with James Earl Jones. He passed away. I was wondering if you have any memories of working with him or any recollection.
I worked with James Earl Jones 4 times. Twice in the Best of the Best movies. But right. He was just one of the greatest guys to be around who ever breathed. He was always the same, always sweet, always considerate, and always funny. He was a very funny guy, and he was kind. He was sweet. He was what he looks like. That's what he was. Right.
Yeah. And those movies are a blast. Like, you must have. I mean, I think you did. Taekwondo, right? In real life, a black belt, I think I read. So you must have. I mean, those movies are like super rewatchable too. They're just a good time.
So much fun making those movies. It was like Cowboys and Indians, as there were, even though you're not supposed to say that politically anymore. It was just fun. It was a bunch of guys living their fantasies in martial arts, having fun playing hero. It was so much fun.
Yeah. What led you to, like, when did you finally say, listen, I'm going to write this all down. I'm going to do a book. Like, when did you decide, like, it's time? Has it been something you were working on bits and pieces over the years? Did you physically sit down? A lot of people have done it during the pandemic. Or was it just, hey, it's time?
Well, actually, I read every biography pretty much ever written by anybody who's a celebrity,
okay,
or a political figure. And so I was never going to write a book. But about 10 years ago, because all the biographies, especially in like show business, all the biographies are always the same. I had a rough childhood. I got over it, did this, I became this, and I'm that. And it's all kind of, by rote and boring. And I've read hundreds of them. So
it's true.
I'm very bored by them. Well, I get a call and it says, you have to write a book. I said, no, I don't. Thank you. But they kept coming every day, calls about writing a book. And finally, this very good publisher calls and says, you should write a book. And I said, well, and so, before anybody writes it about me, I guess I will. So I did, kind of with a little bit of pressure, but also from my wife saying, you have a good story and you have come out the other end of a life that was not perfect. Mm-hmm. and you've established a life for yourself that is kind of perfect for you. So you should write a book, Eric. So that was kind of the last straw that I went, okay, I will. So but I was scared because I'm not a writer.
Sure.
And I also know if I'm left to my own devices, I will embellish. I will lie.
Right.
I know that about myself. So I had to have somebody who's a grown up, sitting next to me who could be a grown up. So I did an interview with this guy named Sam Cashner. Yep. For Vanity Fair, and he's a part of the interest in writing the book. So he and Vanity Fair had that interest, and so I said okay, because they are such class, and they're so consistently just wonderful, both of them, Sam and that magazine. So I wrote a book with Sam Cashner.
Great. Runaway Train, or The Story of My Life So Far is the title. It's not available yet, if I'm correct, right? It will be soon. September 23rd. Is that right? Or no, I'm sorry, September 17th. So it's Tuesday, week from today. So as we're taping it, it's available. Go get it. And the title is perfect because, I mean, look, I have a lot of Eric Roberts performances I like. It's funny. It was on this weekend. It was on, it's, they pop up back in rotation everyone on Showtime or HBO. So all of a sudden I put the very beginning of Runaway Train is on. And it's you were nominated. Voight was nominated. So you guys are both great. It's just a great fucking movie too. Like you forget. I haven't seen it probably in 10 years. I don't know if you watch your stuff. I don't know the last time you saw it or not, but that movie is alive. Like that movie is a rush.
I actually watched the movie just the other day when it was on TV.
Yeah. What'd you think?
I love that movie. And I also love watching that movie because the hell John and I went through.
I was wondering that. Yeah.
John was such a great example of a co-worker. He was fantastic. I loved him. We really bonded during that film. And we didn't ever discuss politics, ever discuss anything but our character's world. Mm-hmm. And we rocked it.
Yeah. And you were nominated for an Academy Award.
Who knew?
Yes. Well, I mean, look, in my opinion, like, first of all, there's no question you should have been nominated. I'm sure you've heard Quentin Tarantino talk about this many times. He thinks your performance in Star 80 is one of the greatest performances of all time. He wrote about it in his book. Did you listen to his podcast episode about it?
I did.
Oh, and by the way, 1,000% right. I remember as a kid watching it and thinking, who is this fucking psychopath? If you had told me 35 years later, I'd be talking to him in an interview. So creepy, such a great performance. Walk me, if you could, just through, you're working with Bob Fosse, obviously, Hemingway, like that crazy character, like what, you took some wild swings in that movie and it paid off. Like what was going on with you at that point in your life, at that age, where you could embody that kind of performance? As, by the way, people don't know, the story of Dorothy Stratton, this Playboy playmate, small town. She meets Snyder, who I guess you would say is not her pimp, but just, just this sort of, caregiver of her, winds up killing her and doing more to her after she dies.
Well, they wind up falling in love and getting married. And
right.
He has the idea to take some photos for a Playboy, send them in, and she gets accepted to have a real photo session to possibly be a playmate. Mm-hmm. And so she takes off.
Right.
And when she takes off, she gets movie offers and all kinds of things. And to make a long story very short, she basically leaves him behind, and he doesn't like it, so he murders her. So that's basically it in a nutshell. Even though it's no details or no understanding, it's just
right
basic story. But after I played that part, mm-hmm. It was such a good movie, and Bob Fosse was such a good movie maker, that what happened was everybody thought I was that guy. Where I would walk down the street,
right,
and I would see a woman a block away, get a half block from me, recognize me, and cross the street.
Right.
And that started happening a lot. And I realized people really think I'm that guy.
Yeah.
And, it kind of haunted me in that after I did Star 80, I was offered all the psychos.
Right. That becomes a typecast thing, right?
Right. And my psychos, especially if they're real guys who are really people who you're doing a biography of, are fun to play because you study the whole psychology and the whole mess that their brain has. And it was just so much fun, but how
do you embody that? I guess is my question. Like playing a guy like that, is it? I mean, you're an actor, you're a great actor. So is it just easy as turning it up? Like, or are you one of these guys back then, like on the set where you're acting like is it like a Daniel Day-Lewis thing? You know what I'm saying? Like back then, were you a big method guy? Were you not?
Well, I don't label what I do because I use a piece of every acting technique there is every day.
Right.
So no, I don't label what I do, but I was in it, and when I wasn't in it, like here's a good story for you. I was doing a scene one day, and I messed up on Star 80, and I said cut. We don't say cut on a Fosse set unless you're Fosse. And he goes, "What are you doing?" I said, "I messed up." He goes, "Damn it, come here." And he walks across the soundstage at Zoetrope, and he says, "Come here." And I'm in my underwear, but I follow him. I go over there. The whole crew's behind me. We're about 30 or 40 feet away from the crew. And he goes, "Look at me." I said, "I'm looking at you." He goes, "Look at me." I said, "I'm looking at you, buddy." He goes, "Okay. You're playing me if I weren't successful. Do you understand?" And I did.
Yeah, yeah.
And I kind of played Fosse a lot in that movie.
Right.
And even though I had done homework and Paul was not like Fosse, he still had the same kind of drive Fosse had. He still had the same kind of excitement over beauty.
Right.
And and excitement over sexuality.
That's really interesting though, because I mean, legitimately, the movie right before that, somebody else played Fosse in the Fosse movie. Basically, I mean, the jazz singer. That's what Roy Scheider's doing, right?
All that jazz.
Yeah, which is a great movie. But like, that's funny. That's funny that he was a great actor too. By the way, did you ever work with him?
No, I didn't, but I'd love to have worked with him. He was great guy to watch.
Yeah. Is there so you're off to the races, like Star 80, Pope of Greenwich Village, great movie. Runaway Train, great. Like you are now here we go. Like Eric Roberts has arrived, a Cameo Award nominee. Like where does it in your mind? You talk about ups and downs. Like I've had them too. I've had my own addiction issues, recovery. Like when did it start to go wrong? If I'm phrasing that correctly.
Well, to be honest, there was no left turn or a point that it all happened. Yeah. It was over my lifetime.
Sure.
It was just that I finally came to a point where things were more important to me than my moment in time, like my wife, like my grandchildren, what have you. Things became real. And I realized I was mistaken in my approach to myself. And I met a woman who is smarter than I am, kinder than I am, and actually stronger than I am. And she fell in love with me, and I fell in love with her. And she said, if you stay together, you can never do drugs. And I said, okay. And that was like the last straw.
And when was that?
And that was like the last straw. I had to give it up. And I also, ran into the fact that the drugs will kill you. I had a little altercation with my drug taking. And I realized that, what have I done for 20 years?
Sure.
But what happened was I started doing drugs. I was drug free. I smoked a little pot now and then, but I was drug free. And then the movie industry raises its head, and there was cocaine everywhere. And everybody from the executive producers to craft service were doing that drug on the set. Mm-hmm. Now, what I'm lucky is I can't do that drug and talk. So, because I cannot talk when I'm on cocaine, it's just horrible. So, I never did it on set, but I would do it after. Mm-hmm. And I became, and it was the rage. Everybody was doing coke. Okay, I'm grown up too. It was like that.
Right.
And it just got out of control. And up until I got something that mattered more to my private moment, which was my wife and my life, I gave it up.
Well, good. That's to me a way more interesting book and story than somebody who has a nice quality. That's why it's going to be a great book. I'll read it. We didn't get a copy. I'm going to read it day one for sure. I can't wait to read it.
I didn't title the book. The publisher titled the book.
Are you okay with the title?
They said we want to call this Runaway Train. I said, well, I don't. I think that's kind of par for the course. They said, no, your life is a runaway train.
Right.
I said, okay.
Yeah, fair.
Yes, sir. Yeah. So I went with it.
Is there a role in that mid '80s that you turned down or were up for that you didn't get that you're like, God damn it? Even years later. I mean, I know you know. Is there something you were in '87, '88, something like that?
The only part that I wish I had played, but I don't bring it up often because it was played so well, is Richard Gere's part in Officer and Gentleman.
Okay, yeah.
I'd love to have played that part. And
I thought for a second you were say Richard Gere's part in Pretty Woman, and I was going to say Eric. That might have been a strange film. Yeah. He is. Yeah. Oh, the part of Zach. Did you read for that, or how did it work back then? Did you get a chance for that, or no?
Well, hey Eliza, come. I don't tell this story well. Let my wife tell you this story. Sure. She likes to, and it's a good story.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I got it right from the director.
From Taylor Hackford.
We were at a gathering, and here's what happened. Sure. Eric used to be managed by a manager who was very in your life. He had a great eye, but then once he was representing you, he ruined your life, basically.
Yeah.
And Taylor Hackford wanted Eric. Eric had that role. And Bill, the manager, wouldn't leave the room, would not allow that director-actor relationship to happen at all.
Yeah.
And eventually Taylor was like, I just can't do this with the two of you. And Eric was too kind of new at that time to really get, okay, I got to take control here and send my manager away and just do this. So it was to this day, and nobody regrets Gear, obviously. But
No, he's great. Yeah.
Taylor just felt he wanted you. That was it.
Ah, well, there you go. I mean, listen, everything works out for a reason.
Oh yeah,
Exactly. There we go.
I can't tell the story because it
Sounds like bragging.
Yeah, I got you. No, I understand.
Like an actor showing off.
Yeah.
That's why I have my wife tell the story.
Your other great performance as a killer is one of my favorite cameos of all time in The Cable Guy.
Oh,
I remember being in the theater and seeing that. I was like, oh, this is fantastic. Playing the guy in the TV movie of the trial that Jim Carrey's watching of Ben Stiller playing it's like The Cable Guy is a great misunderstood. It's become, I think people now appreciate it 30 years later, but because there was all that, I'm sure you remember, like Jim Carrey got 20 million and everyone was like, what is this? But
everybody got upset.
Super funny movie. Like, how did you get pitched? I mean, did you have the kind of sense of humor right away? You were like, I got to do this.
Oh yeah, they called me and said, Eric, come do this. I said, I'll be there in a minute.
Yeah, it's a super funny part. Is that like a day shooting? Is that how that works? You just show up for like
1 day shoot? Yep.
Yeah. How about working for Christopher Nolan?
Christopher Nolan is all the things that you want. He's like Bob Fosse. He's all the things that you want in a director. He's your mother. He's your father. He's your teacher. He's your friend. He's your truant officer. He's all those things, and he's the boss. And movie making is a fascist system. You have a dictator and everybody else, and that's how it works best. And he does it that way. He's the boss, man. What he says goes. But he did give me my favorite note I ever got from a director. I'm doing a scene in a big fancy place, all dressed up with a hot chick beside me.
Right.
And I'm doing a line about my hot chick, and he screams on his megaphone, "Cut! Eric Roberts!" I get dead quiet. Cut! Shh, silence. Eric Roberts, don't be funny. Since I never hired for humor, I was tickled to my bone.
How about Heath Ledger?
Heath Ledger was lovely. I had heard all these stories. He's so into the part, you can't go near him, all this stuff. No, he wasn't like that at all. He was like me. He was like, he loves what he does, and he's having a blast. In fact, in the scene where he's got this huge monologue with all the bad guys around a table, and he puts the pencil through a guy's hand. We all arrived there in the morning. We're all in our street clothes, and we're all lined up for rehearsal. And he starts in the monologue, and he gets about halfway through it, and he stops, and he turns back to all of us at the table, and he goes, "How am I doing?" And he's doing great, which is why it was so endearing. And we all said, "You're doing great." And then he went on. He was just lovely. He was approachable. He was normal. He was sweet, and he was talented, and he was a loss.
Yeah. Can you tell, dumb question probably, can you tell like whether it's Voight in Runaway Train or Heath Ledger in that movie, can you tell you're watching a great performance or you need to see it? Like, can it sometimes not translate, or do you know, can you feel it sort of cackling while it's like while it's happening?
If they make you forget that you're watching a performance and you think you're watching reality, just while you're watching it, just as an audience, or just as a co-actor,
right?
And you forget you're in an acting situation, they have done it. And that happened every day with Jon Voight, and it happened quite often with Heath.
Yeah, Voight is so great in that movie, isn't he?
Isn't he fantastic?
I mean, you're great too. You're both. Yeah, he's great. God, he's great.
Like, people don't know, he only weighed 170 pounds. He's 6'2". He weighed 170 pounds. I mean, that's less than I weigh.
Crazy.
I'm only 5'10".
Right.
But he wore a bodysuit, so he looked enormous. He was not enormous, but he played enormous. He was enormous. He's one of the finest actors ever to walk on 2 feet.
Is he the best actor you've ever worked with? Man, that's probably impossible.
Well, that's not fair to say, because when you work with an actor, you only work with them on one thing. So you can't really take them out and say they're the best.
Yeah.
But Jon was one of the 3 or 4 best actors I've ever met. Are you kidding?
Who else did you put on that list?
Oh, I don't really want to start that because
leave people out. Yeah. No, I understand. You're also one of the one of my favorite actors. A couple of my favorite guys of all time are Stallone and James Woods.
Oh yeah.
And you're in The Specialist, which is a blast. You have a great. I think I read a story where you did a scene with Stallone. Like Stallone realized you guys weren't gonna have a scene together. You wrote something up like on the set, right? Did I read that correctly or no?
No, what happened was my wife and I were off there having a night shoot, and I said, let's go watch the night shoot like the fans.
Right.
It was okay. So we have dinner, and then we sneak up, got this big group watching the shoot, and we sneak up in the group and we're watching. And suddenly Sly, like he knew I was there the whole time, he goes, "Hey, Eric." I said, "What's up, Sly?" "Hey, Eric, I'm thinking about it. We'd have a scene together in this freaking movie." I said, "So write one." He goes, "I will. I'll write it tonight. We'll shoot it tomorrow." Of course, I thought he was showing off for the fans. I just said, "Okay, that's great, Sly." But then I showed up the next day and he had a scene written and we shot it. And that's where I put the knife in his eye on the street.
Right. Yeah. Where you blow him a kiss. You accuse him. Yeah, maybe you got a crush on me. You blow him a kiss. Yeah. Great. That's
exactly.
And
he just made me feel so liked by him when he did that. It was so kind and sweet and fun and surprising and good. It's a good little scene.
If I say Mickey Rourke to you, what do you think of?
Brilliant. In fact, one of the 2 or 3 most brilliant guys I've worked with, like Jon.
Yeah.
Mickey is a great actor, and Mickey and I made a great movie. And
great. Pope of Grinch is a great movie. Have you watched that? Have you watched that lately or no?
No, I haven't seen it in probably 15 years. But I'm so proud of that movie, and I'm so proud of being Mickey in that movie. And Vinnie Patrick wrote probably the best script, for dialogue I've ever read.
Yeah. You know what's great in that too, speaking of Stallone, and he just passed not that long ago, is Burt Young.
Yeah, Burt.
He was great. I think Emmett Walsh is in that, right?
Emmett Walsh is in that.
Yeah. Geraldine Page. That's a great cast.
Geraldine Page got an Academy Award nomination.
Yeah.
Which is on screen, I think a total of 300 seconds. Yeah. Isn't that cool?
Not bad.
Yeah.
So one of the things when you look at your Wikipedia page is like, you read like Eric Roberts has been in, 400 movies. He's done this. He's done that. My attitude is like, why not? Like, you love doing it. Like, why you want to work, right?
Well, what happened is actually very specific. Like any other successful actor, I made 2 to 4 movies a year.
Right.
And then they took film and they say, now you have digital. So everybody became a studio who owned a camera. So they started calling me direct. And about 1996, 7 or 8, I don't know, my wife comes to me and says, "Eric, we're getting 30 to 50 offers every day from all over the world. Do you want to go do this?" I said, "Yeah, let's go do this." Thinking like everything else, it would last 2 months, maybe 2 years if it's a long run. That was 30 years ago.
Yeah.
That was 27 years ago. And I've just been working pretty much every day since then. And about 27, 8, 9 years ago, maybe 30, my wife says to me one day, if you could do anything every day, what would it be? I said, I would act. I'd be on a set every day. And my wife goes, "Well, that's not going to happen." Now jump cut. And she says to me, "Eric, it's 30 years later. Eric, be careful what you wish for, because you could be on a set every day somewhere in this world if you want to be." And I said, "Let's go do it."
Yeah, why not, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of it, like you were saying about like the cable, there's a lot of it you just show up for 2 days, pop in, do a couple things and get out. I mean, is that a big part of it, or?
I was told I have over 800 appearances on film. Probably 300 of those are cameos or small parts.
Do you remember all of them? If I read you one from your Wikipedia, would you definitely remember it every time or no?
Not by title of the thing. If you describe the story, yeah, because they also change titles a lot.
Oh, that's true. Right.
So when I'm told, "Hey, I love doing so and so," I have no idea what they're talking about.
If I say Sanctimony with Casper Van Dien and Michael Paré from Eddie and the Cruisers, you remember that one?
I do, because Michael Prey and I are very close. I love that cat. He's a good guy.
He was great in Eddie and the Cruisers too, by the way.
Good cat. He's a good actor.
Good actor, yeah. See, that's why guys like him, guys like I feel, and you're probably going to say no. You're going to sound falsely modest, so I'll say it for you. I feel like I don't see in this generation now guys like Eric Roberts, guys like Mickey Rourke, guys like Michael Parr, guys who look like guys. I don't know if I'm articulating that correctly, but just like, and you're a great looking guy, but I'm just saying like who is like, you see him on the street, even like a movie like Diner. Like I don't see guys like that anymore. Maybe because I'm getting older. It's probably part of it too.
Well, acting, we got so much acting product at us now with so many stations, so many stuff.
That's
so
true.
Many streaming, there's so much quantity that it's become not special. And that if you're a good actor, it's like, so what almost. And to be a good actor is hard.
Yeah.
And to take people on a journey that they learn from and don't forget is hard.
Yeah.
And, but people don't remember that. And because they watch on TV, a new generation thinks, oh, I can do that. But the problem with that is this. The better an actor is, the easier it looks. So the better an actor is, the more an example he is to the new actor of, oh, I can do that because it looks easy. It's the same in sports. And the better an athlete is, the easier it looks for them.
Sure.
It's the same difference. Only you're not near that athlete's skill set. You're not near that. But he makes it look so easy, you feel you are.
Did you think there's a chance that night while you were in that audience that you were going to win the Academy Award?
I thought either me or Klaus Maria Brandau. What's his name?
Out of Africa?
Out of Africa. Klaus.
Yeah.
I thought it would be him. If it wasn't him, it would be me because his movie was a big hit.
Right, one Best Picture. Yeah.
It would be him, but if it's not him, it'll be me. I had no idea it would be who it was. I would have put money on it that it wouldn't be who it was, but it was Don Amici.
Don Amici, yeah, from Cocoon.
From Cocoon, which was a wonderful movie.
Yeah. And another like great character actor who was nominated that year too is Robert Loggia.
Yeah, great guy too. I like Robert.
Did you work with him?
No, but we hung out a little bit.
Yeah. Is there somebody you of all, whether it's a giant or a good, is there somebody you're like, and you must have that chance, somebody you're like, oh shit, I never got to work with this guy or that woman. Robert
Mitchum, but the actor who I can't let get away from me, who's one of my dearest friends from as far back as 1975, is Chris Walken. We have to do something together. He and I were neighbors for almost 30 years, and he is the best cook I ever met. Who's not a chef.
Really?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Without a doubt.
Yeah.
I cook. He chefs.
There you go. So the book is out Tuesday. Runaway Train. I am looking forward. I think it's going to. I'm curious. Like I said, is there anything in there that's going to be, when it gets released, it's going to be particularly, blurby, where people are going to jump on this? Is there something because now with these books, everyone's looking for these things to pull away and put a people.com article or an Us Weekly article. Is there something that you felt like is going to be sort of shocking to people or no?
I don't know how to answer that question because
you don't have to if you don't want. I'm just curious.
I just don't know how, because I don't know. So let's see together. Yeah.
Do you discuss your relationship? Do you talk about your sister at all? Do you have a good relationship with her?
Of course I do. I
don't know. I mean, I
my wife. I talk about all the women in my life.
Good. That's good. So it seems like it's good. I'm sure writing this when you're in a good place in your life versus writing it when you're in a lousy place in your life, because you're able to be more reflective, I would think, and have some perspective as you write.
Well, you don't have to lie if you're in a good place in your life.
That's a good point. That's a good point too. All right. So the book comes out Tuesday. Runaway Train. Let me get this exactly right. The story of my life so far. It comes out Tuesday, September 17th. It's available. It's gonna be available everywhere. Obviously online, Amazon, Barnes & Noble, wherever you want to go, the book will be available. Did you do an audio for it or no?
I did.
Yeah. How was that?
It was fun to do.
Have you done that before? Other books or
what?
Have you ever read for other, some actors do. Have you read books, done them for other people or fiction?
Lots and lots and lots. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. You like doing that? You get a great voice for it.
Yeah, it's fun. You don't have to shave.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, Heaven's Prisoners. I just saw the other day too. Did you have fun doing that?
Good ass movie.
Yeah. Good forgotten kind of movie they don't make anymore.
Yeah, well, Phil Joannou is one of my 3 favorite directors. The other 2 are dead. So he's my favorite living director.
Fosse and who? I'm assuming Fosse. I could be wrong.
Yeah.
You're not going to tell me.
No.
Oh, come on. I will say, what a life, though. I was just thinking about this when you were talking about it. Not a lot of people could say, hey, I was directed by Bob Fosse and Christopher Nolan. That's a group of, I'm guessing, 1.
It's pretty far out.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, the other guys, of course, Chris Nolan. But
and Damien Chazelle, right? Obviously.
What's that?
Weren't you in Damien Chazelle's last movie, Babylon, or no? Yeah. Which I think is a misunderstood movie.
It's the first time in my career I've been cut out of a movie. I had a bunch of scenes in that movie, and I ended up with kind of half a scene.
Right.
It was so disappointing because I love my work with her.
Mm-hmm.
I love what the director had me do.
Yeah.
But he didn't leave it in the movie.
What do you got coming up? Anything?
You have to go to imdb.com. That can tell you about me better than I can tell you about me.
All right. Get the book. Comes out Tuesday. Runaway Train, or My Life So Far. Eric Roberts. Hopefully we'll get to talk to you again down the line. I really enjoyed it.
Anytime you want to talk to me, you let me know.
All right. Have a great day, Eric. Thank you so much.